Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to continue with the lecture series, Dhamma talk series about PÆRAMީ, how to fulfill PÆRAMީ in order to liberate. So far we have discussed what the PÆRAMީ are, what are the definitions of PÆRAMީ, and then what sort of a mindset that we should have in order to attain the liberation. And we have been discussing for 2 days about the reflections. How do we reflect on PÆRAMީs so we can have a more eagerness, or we may have more desire to fulfill the PÆRAMީ. In the previous 2 lectures, we discussed how do we reflect on few PÆRAMީs such as Dana, Sila, Nekkamma, Panya, Viriya, Dana, Sila, Nekkamma, and Panya and Viriya. So today I am going to focus on the last 5 PÆRAMީs regarding how do we do the reflection. So this is not explaining how to fulfill the PÆRAMީs. This is about how do we reflect on them so we may get a urge, or we may not lose our interest in PÆRAMީs, so to attain the liberation. This is called, in Pali we call this PÆRAMީ Paccavekkana. PÆRAMީ Paccavekkana means reflecting on PÆRAMީs so we may get the urge to fulfill them without neglecting. Yeah, the last 5 PÆRAMީs are Khanti, patience; Sacca, truthfulness; Aditthana, determination; Metta, loving kindness; Upekkha, equanimity. So the 6th PÆRAMީ is, normally it's called Khanti. Khanti is the patience. Khanti is the patience. So patience means not reacting to the hardship with an angry mind. So when we have patience, we tolerate whatever the hardship we are facing. When we face hardship, it is not that always we have to endure it and to suffer. But in some occasions, sometimes we cannot avoid the hardship in our lives. So what we do is, normally when you are facing the hardship while doing some noble work, we give up the work and go into fix the hardship. So sometimes while involving in fixing the problems, the hardships, we may lose the opportunity of completing our noble work. There is no noble work that can be done without any hardship. That's the first thing that we have to understand. So therefore, it is obvious that we have to endure some sort of hardship if you are walking towards a sublime goal or a supreme goal. So therefore, it is a must that it is not to say that we should not fix the problems during our noble cause or walking towards the Nibbana. But in some occasions, there is no option other than enduring it and walk in the path. So therefore, it is necessary that we develop this quality of enduring the hardship without polluting our mind, without bringing up an angry mind. So that's very necessary. Anger is like a snake within our body, within our mind. So when we are practicing Khanti, we don't wake up this snake. This snake, if wakes up, should surely bite, and that poison of the snake is it's a very high poisonous venom that could harm both us and the other parties. So it's very important that we don't wake the snake up, and because when the anger is present, it is really detrimental to the path. Sometimes we may walk on the path with some sort of a lobha. Lobha can be present in the path. That is possible. Still we can walk on. But if dosa comes, it completely takes out you from the path. So therefore, it's very necessary that we suppress our anger, dosa in Pali, right? Dosa in Pali, while we are walking on this path. We get rid of attachment, lobha through nekkhamma parami mainly. We are getting rid of anger with this kanti parami. So it is one of the very important qualities that one has to develop while walking on the path towards Nibbana. When we are developing parami, kanti parami, we make ourselves like the Mother Earth. Mother Earth. So in Pali text, the simile is given, kanti balo patavi samo na kuppati. Kanti balo, kanti bala, patavi samo. Kanti bala means the one who has the power of patience. Patavi samo, equal to the earth. Na kuppati, who doesn't get angry for whatever reason. So reasons may be the insults that others make, sometimes the physical punishment that others give us, sometimes the sicknesses that we may encounter, difficulties, weather, changes of the weather, bites of mosquitoes, blood flies. So whatever it is, whenever we are facing a hardship that we do not like normally, we are supposed to keep our mind calm, restrained, and not to react with an angry mind. So if we are able to face these problems with a calm, peaceful, non-reacting mind, that is not to, we can try to fix the problem, that is something else. Also we have to keep in mind there is no way that we can fix all the problems in our life. Even though we try to fix them or we endure it, we have to maintain the non-angry mind, the kusala chitta, that is the important factor here. So if we can maintain our mind and face the hardship and still do the walk on the path, so we are fulfilling the kanti parami. Patavi samo. Patavi samo. Patavi is earth. Sama is equal. Patavi samo. Okay. Yeah. So why do we equal the person who practice kanti parami to the earth? Whatever you do to the earth, it doesn't react negatively, right? So even we put some dirt onto it, when you put flowers onto it, when you pay respect to it, even you dig it, hurt it. Hurt means you break the earth. It doesn't react. It doesn't give you any angry outcome. So likewise, a person who practices kanti parami should endure all the hardship with a pleasant, equal mind, and which should not react angrily towards it. So why is it very important? That is, anger is very detrimental to our practice, and that would destroy all the good qualities of the person. So when we reflect the dangers of anger and the benefits of practicing patience, we'll automatically get into developing this very good, wholesome, noble quality. So what we need to do is we have to contemplate the dangers of the anger. Normally, none of us likes to be angry, right? So that's why we normally say, don't make me angry. So because we know that it's not something pleasant to our mind. None of us want to be in an angry state. Sometimes we feel like it's better to get angry and hurt someone. But we know that staying in that state for a longer period is not very healthy, or it's not very pleasant. So anger is a quality that destroys all our good personality, because we say that normally when you cross we normally say don't cross the limit. So everyone has a limit. What does it mean? If we have a limit in our patients, that means we have a limit in our qualities. So we normally say don't cross the red line. That is because if you cross this, we are warning the other party that I may react violently, I may shout at you, I may insult you, I may even hit you, and I cannot guarantee what would happen next. Even I may harm your life. So it can lead to that level. So what does it mean? If you cross this limit, don't expect the saint or the good person who is now seeing, whom you are seeing now. So having a limitations in patience, having a limit in patience means having a limit in your good qualities. So the limit of patience determines your limit of good qualities. So if someone is of an opinion that everyone should have a limit in their patience, it means everyone should have a limit in their good qualities. So our expectation, our wish is to be an arahant, right? Or to be a Buddha or a Pacceka Buddha or an arahant. That's the only way to get rid of samsara. So that will be a level of infinite patience. Whatever happens, we are not going to react violently. So therefore, we are not supposed to limit our good qualities while we are practicing. So when you think like this, automatically our scope of patience would increase or expand. All right. Then reacting with anger is similar. A simile is given in our books that if you want to hit someone with anger, think about how if you collect some excrement from your hand and hit the other person, surely that person would feel bad, like he'll be smeared with excrement. But before you hurt the person, you are the one who is getting dirty, right? You have to touch, when you touch the excrement to hit with someone, your hand gets dirty in the first place. So if you are reacting and hurting someone with anger, so you will be the person who gets angry will be affected first. So we are losing our peace. We are losing our good condition of the mind. Then we will be harming the other person. So anger is harmful to the both parties, especially to the person in whom it is arising. So therefore, when we keep on contemplating like this, we will be able to subdue our anger to some extent and develop this wholesome quality. So what we are supposed to do is see the bad sides of anger and also see the good sides of kanti. So only then we will be able to develop this quality. So then we move on to another good quality, PＡRAMީ, that we should reflect is the Satcha PARAMީ, Kanti Satcha. Satcha is being truthful. There are three aspects how we can develop Satcha PARAMީ. Always speaking the truth, being truthful, and keeping the promises, not breaking the promises, and helping others and your own self by doing Satcha Kriya. Satcha Kriya means making determinations that I have done this and this, good qualities and so forth, and by the power of this truthfulness, by power of the utterance of this truth, may these things happen and may we be free from such dangers and so forth. So these are the three ways the Satcha PARAMީ can be developed. So this is also very vital PARAMީ in the path towards liberation, because they all are related. The Satcha PARAMީ is related to the truth. We are also in a quest, in search of realizing the truth. So it's always necessary, if we are to understand the truth of the world, the reality of the world, that our behavior should be aligned with the truth. So it's very important that we develop this great quality of being truthful, keeping the promises while we are practicing. The quality of a person who doesn't speak the truth, doesn't keep the promises, is not very high. His qualities are quite low. So by fulfilling the Satya Parami, we elevate, increases the degree of our of being a good person. A person who always keeps the truth, who always keeps the promises and speaks the truth, is considered a very great being in terms of spiritual qualities. So therefore, it's very important, it's very vital that we keep the Satya Parami. It is said in the books that there's no other taste which is sweeter than the truth, which is sweeter than the truth. So if we keep on reflecting on this, we'll be able to develop some good qualities, develop this quality of being truthful. Right? For example, if you think, now consider, one of our persons that whom we like or whom we love, a family member or part of your someone who is related to your life, has been doing something else that we didn't know, for instance, that we didn't like. For example, one of our children have been doing something that we don't like, or our partner have been doing something that we don't like, or maybe the parents have been doing something we don't like. Then if this act was done for many years, and later on we get to know this, without knowing it, we were okay with them, and we had a nice feeling towards them. But suddenly, when we get to know that our child is connected to a drug dealer, or partner is having a different affair, or parents are doing something, occupation that we didn't like, for example, whatever it is. So when we get to know this, we would feel very bad. Now, consider about the two situations. The time you didn't know, you believed in them of doing something else while they were doing something or something other than that. And then a time that you got to know the truth. It was true that after knowing it, our feelings were hurt, we felt bad. Then before knowing that, we were okay with that. We were okay with the people. But after knowing the truth, when we recall this incident, do we feel as it is good that I didn't know it, so I was okay with them? Or do we regret of not knowing the truth from the first place? So even though the truth sometimes hurts us, it is always better to be aware of the reality. Even though the reality is against our wish, though we get hurt, believing in someone or something to be someone else, or having wrong information, in the long term, deeply, it's not very nice. So, though the reality is against what we like, being informed about the reality is always nice. That is why in Buddhism, in teachings, we say truth is the highest taste. Knowing the truth, Satchang paramang raso, paramo raso, Satcha, truthfulness or the truth, is the highest taste. So always being truthful means we make the others understand the reality very well. That is not to say to always speak the truth to everyone. That would also cause some problems. But we should never tell lies, because telling the lies may solve the problem to some point, to some level, but in the long run, it is not something very nice. Sometimes we may use skillful means to avoid the conflicts, but always we have to keep in mind, being informed is always better than being misinformed. So in simple terms, if you want to understand the reality, always speak the reality. Reality means the truth. If you are planning to understand the truth, realize the truth of the world, we have to be always truthful. And it is mentioned that the Bodhisattva has been always truthful during his journey, because if he is to understand the reality of the world without the help of anyone, he has to be very careful of giving the correct information to others. So therefore, always keep this in mind. Though it doesn't seems to be very much aligned with Dana Sila Bhavana. Yes, it falls under Sila, speaking the truth, but keeping the promises, doing the Satya Kiryas, seems like something little bit away from all the other qualities, from the path. But always keep it in mind. If we are to realize the truth, we have to respect the truth always. So it is one of the very vital paramis, which I shall explain later on. So when you keep on contemplating on this, we get the urge to practice this truthfulness. Yeah. Then we move on to the next parami, aditthana. Aditthana is determination. So if you are to achieve something very noble, we have to have very strong determination. We cannot be like a stick that is established on mud. So a stick that is stuck on mud always shakes, right? It's very easy it shakes. Stick on mud, right? Yeah, right? It shakes always. So wavering. We cannot, if we are walking on the path towards the liberation, we should not be wavering like a stick on the mud. Because sometimes we may think, yes, I may follow the noble path, I may go into another direction, we may sometimes follow a certain doctrine, then go to another religion. So likewise, if the person is wavering, if he doesn't have a strong determination, that's not very good in the practice. In the same way, some people may first they start to think of being a Buddha, then moves on to be a Pacceka Buddha, then again moves on to be an Arahant, again thinks of becoming a Buddha. So this kind of wavering mind is not very, very healthy. So therefore, it is very important that whenever we make the decision to walk on a certain path towards the liberation, that we have to have a strong determination. After we have understood the path clearly, we should have a strong determination that I will reach that goal, whatever, sacrificing, doing whatever means. So it's very important, very vital. So therefore, developing this quality of determination, it is very, very important in this regard. So only a person with a strong determination will be able to walk on the path strongly. Aditthana is a quality that makes a person great or ordinary. Because if we are to achieve something very special, we have to have a strong determination towards the goal. For instance, if you are to become a good sportsman, obviously we have to keep some determination within ourselves that I want to reach that level in my sport, and then we have to, only when I have that determination, the person will be putting a lot of efforts regarding the meals, the time of practice, how much effort we should put into this, how much time we have to dedicate for the practice. All these are very vital in order to become a great sportsman. So why are we making such sacrifices or such efforts, putting a lot of effort and working so hard in order to reach that level? Because the person has a strong determination, somehow I will reach that level. So how do we develop this determination? It is by seeing the benefits of the result. Only when we see the benefits of becoming an Arahant or a Buddha or a Pacceka Buddha or attaining the liberation and disadvantages of not achieving that state, then the determination comes up. For example, if we are to become such a good sportsman, the person has to think the benefits of coming into that level. The fame, the praise, the money he can earn, the good lifestyle he'll be living afterwards, the benefits for the family, for the country. So all things, when you see the benefits, he gets the urge to do such a thing. So determination becomes very strong whenever we see the good benefits of the achievement that we are trying to make. So therefore, we have to plant a determination like a mountain that does not shake with the wind that blows at it. So likewise, after we have made a determination to become a particular noble being, we should be walking on this path unwavering with a strong determination, with the intention that I will achieve this goal somehow. So determination keeps you in the path and makes you a very strong person who would not deviate away from the path you have begun. So then comes the Metta Parami, that is loving kindness. This is also highly related to the Khanti. Khanti is not getting angry regarding hardship that you are facing. Metta is quite it's a little bit different. The person who has metta doesn't yield anger to the others, but at the same time he wishes for the benefit of others. That's the difference. If we go a little bit into the quality of metta, the Pali definition for metta is mittassa bhavo. Bhava is the nature. Bhava is the nature. Mitta is the friend, right? The nature of the friend is called metta. Mittassa bhavo metta. Sometimes we have metti ending in e. So both the words refers to the loving kindness. If you look into the people whom we know various people, but only a few are our friends. Friends means who truly wants us to be successful, who truly supports us bodily, verbally, physically, mentally, and who wishes for our success, will be very happy when we make progress. These are the ones whom we call friends. Naturally, parents have this quality towards the children, siblings have towards themselves, and friends have it towards each other. But if we are to develop this quality in all the three doors, bodily, mentally and physically, towards all the beings, if we have a wish that may everyone be successful like our friends or like ourselves, that is a very good high quality. So it is something a step ahead of Khanti, it seems like. Khanti is we are not getting angry for whatever reason. Metta, even to the person who brings hardship, we are wishing their success. We are considering them as our friends. So this is a very high quality that we should develop. So the greatest obstacle to develop metta is the anger, like it is the similar to the obstacle for Khanti. So we also need to contemplate wisely in order to develop this metta, because metta makes you a very high person of a high level. Because if you can treat everyone as your friends and wish for their goodwill, for their success, that is a very high quality that will surely you'll be considered as a very great person. So whenever we are meeting with someone who is harming us, that's the most difficult time to practice metta. So there are many things to be discussed on this topic, but anyway, when we are meeting a person who harms us, how do we tackle this? We should be able to see the good sides of the person, because anger makes us to erase the good qualities the person has. When we are seeing a bad side of someone, we tend to forget all the good sides of the other person and erase it and just focus on that bad side. The simile is given, if we want to get a cloth for our robes and we find some part of the cloth is smeared with some dirt. If we are really in need of the cloth, what we do is we remove that part and take the good part and apply it in our robes. So likewise, if we meet someone, if we encounter someone who is behaving badly, verbally, physically or mentally, we just ignore that part and just starts to focus on the good side of the person. So we will be able to deal with that person with a pleasant mind. That's very vital. That is not to say to appreciate what the wrongs he does. If we are to get rid of the anger burning in us and develop loving kindness towards someone, it's very important that we focus on the good side of the person. So then we'll be able to develop this good quality, because metta makes you to be a person of a higher level, because we are wishing the wishing for the success of other beings with this quality. So another way of contemplating about metta, in order to develop metta, we can also contemplate. Now sometimes when we encounter someone who is harming us or who is doing something bad to the society, it's natural that we feel angry about the person or we feel upset about the person, and we are looking for him to get hurt. We don't appreciate his success, because we feel like if that person has done this and this, he should not be successful and he should be punished, or he should get the consequences of what he has done. Right? So that is a natural tendency that we have. But if we are to contemplate in terms of Dhamma, regardless of what the person does now, we cannot guarantee how he would behave in future lives. For example, think about the Moggallana's act, what Mahamoggallana has done to his parents. I think most of you know the story. He killed his parents in his past lives, one of his past lives. Parents were blind and listened to his wife's, the cruel wife's intentions. This man took them to a forest and acted like thieves have come, and he killed them. While he is attacking the parents said, "Please son, please don't consider about us, please you run and save your life." So even while the parents were saying this, he hit them and he killed them. Now imagine there were good media those days. For example, social media was there. Imagine if it was there. And if this story was posted in Facebook or whatever, reading this story, how would you feel? Right? If you were in that era, you'd feel like, what a bad person this is. They should deserve to be burned they should deserve to burn in hell. They are such, now who has killed his parents, who were blind, and even we would not want to meet such a person in samsara, and we would surely keep on cursing or wishing for the suffering of this man who has done such a cruel deed, killing his own blind parents. So if we were during that era, listening or hearing this story, we would surely fume with anger. But then after some lives, we find this man as the second greatest disciple of Gautama Buddha. And we do read the suttas uttered by this man. We do respect, we pay respect to this person. So, the people whom we don't like today, the people who are behaving bad today, maybe there's a possibility that they can be the beings who will teach us Dhamma in a future Buddha Sasana, and we'll be liberating listening to their Dhamma talk. Such a possibility is there if Moggallana did such an activity. So if you contemplate this possibility, it's very nice, right? If that person could become a Arahant one day and give up his evil deeds and preach Dhamma, and we'd get liberated by this, it's a very nice thing. But I'm sure most of us doesn't want, in the beginning when such thing happen, we don't want to accept such a thing. But that is a reality. It could happen. None of the people who listen to the story of Moggallana during that era would have believed that this man would end up being such a great human being in one of the Buddha Sasanas, right? So therefore, if you consider about this future possibility of the person being, that would also reduces our anger. It's just a technique for us to develop, because we would surely be, if we know, for example, if we know that this person is going to preach Dhamma to me in future samsara, we'd surely be respecting the person and surely have a lot of loving kindness towards that person, right? So therefore, if we can consider this angle, that would also help us to get rid of anger and practice more loving kindness towards the beings who are harming us and harming the society. Yeah. So the next thing is like Upekha Parami. Upekha is not like keeping an equanimous mind, equal mind to all the pleasant and bad objects, pleasant and bad, unpleasant objects. Because attaching to the pleasant objects and disliking the unpleasant objects is the natural tendency of living beings. So if we can keep a similar attitude towards both the objects, this is a very high good quality, and it is not an ordinary quality. So when we are walking on the path, it's obvious that we will be meeting good and bad objects and good and bad people. If we get attached to the ones whom we like, and if we start to dislike the ones whom we don't like, we are diverging away from the path. So it is very vital that we develop a mind that is not distracted by the quality of the object. So we should be able to react to them in a very similar manner. So this is also one of the very difficult paramis to fulfill, upekha. So by reflecting the goodness of the high quality of this parami, we will get an urge to practice this. So it's not an easy one, but it's very vital if you are walking on the middle path towards the liberation, removing the defilements, that we will not be tempted or disturbed by the nature of the object. If we are to understand the reality behind a certain object, the true nature, we should not be disturbed by its outer coating. What are the true natures? Every object is impermanent, every object brings up suffering, every object is non-self other than Nibbana. So, but those objects have secondary qualities, some other qualities like pleasantness, unpleasantness and so forth. If we are focusing on these shallow qualities which manifest to the outside, we'll never be able to penetrate into the deeper qualities. So therefore, it's very vital that we maintain a good balance in our mind, that we'll not be attracted or disturbed by the pleasantness or the unpleasantness of an object. So we maintain an equanimous mind, so we'll be able to walk on the path undistracted. So seeing this depth of this quality, we should try to adapt it into our lives. Yeah, so this will be the explanation about reflecting on paramis. So from next week on lecture onwards, I'll be explaining each and every parami in detail. What are the characteristics of each parami and how one fulfills them. So far what we have done is we have defined what paramis are and what is the mindset of a person who is wishing to fulfill the paramis, and then how do we make the reflections so we will get the urge to fulfill the paramis. So we have done 3 talks about the reflection. So from next time onwards, I'll be talking about the dana parami, sila parami, one after another, and giving some insights about how do we fulfill them in order to reach the liberation.
Okay, one question, Bante. Vandami Bante, how should we develop with effective way? I think that effective how to develop the kanti with effective way.
Effective way, I didn't get the point what is meant by effective way. Like maybe in a way that would become a parami or something. Anyway, so the purpose of kanti is to endure. There's a okay. So the purpose of the parami is to endure the hardship. So one will be able to walk on the path without getting distracted about the hardships. So that's very vital. So because opposite of kanti is the anger, disliking the object or warding away the object or hitting the object or going against the object is the opposite of kanti. So when we get when anger arises in us, our mind is not in a stable state that the person will be able to walk on the path undistracted. Kanti, the no kanti means anger takes you away from the path and reduces all your good qualities. So kanti is a quality that elevates your goodness. That's very important. So in order to develop kanti as a parami, what we are supposed to do is to not to get angry for whatever reason. That is the vital point here. But if we are to fix the problem, for example, if you think about in day-to-day life, children are behaving badly or not following our instructions or behaving in a wrong way. It's obvious, natural that the parents would get angry or frustrated by that. So if we are to make it more effective, that we also do not get away from the path toward liberation, but also to correct the children. So we as parents, parents have to instruct the children. We have to stop them from doing bad with a mind that is not affected. So that's the vital point here. Kanti parami can be developed when things are going against our will. Kanti parami can be developed only when we are encountering objects that we don't like normally. So either we endure it if it is out of beyond our control. For example, if we don't like the coldness, if it starts to snow or rain suddenly, there's no way that you can fix the problem, right? You cannot stop the rain. You cannot stop snowing. So in such regards, we have to endure it or find a way to cover ourselves, but we'll never be able to fix the weather. So in such occasions, we have to endure it. There's no way. But if the problem is within our reach, if it can be fixed, yes, we can solve the problem. But always, whether we are enduring or not, we have to maintain a balanced mind, non-angry mind. That is the point here. And that makes the person more noble. Now think, when monks were behaving badly, if you have read the Vinaya Pitaka only, you know that how mischievous some monks were those days. So or when such things were happening, if Buddha got angry and shouted at the monks, would we respect him as we do now? No. Because it shows that he was disturbed by certain objects, that he couldn't control his emotions encountering some objects. So therefore, the point here is not to be angry with whatever objects. That is not to say to enjoy everything. If it is beyond our control, we have to enjoy it. But if it is within our reach, within our controllable reach, we need to fix it, but all the time maintaining a non-angry mind. That's the point here.
Okay, next question. It's not been translated. Okay. So, question from Brother Venerable and Dani. I want to ask about the third sila, Kamesumita Thera. If a person, a man or woman, single or in relationship or marriage, has a thought to be together and have sexual intercourse with someone who she or he does meet or see on the media in picture, because it's only in a thought, in the mind. Does that count Kamesumita Thera? Then second question is, if two persons in relationship with not married but not married yet have sexual intercourse before marriage, does this on Buddhist count as Kamesumita Thera? Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu for this good.
You put me in trouble now asking this question. Okay. So anyway, I have to answer as a monk as you have asked the question. It's something that we have to know surely as lay people. So in order to know this rule, the third precept, first thing is it has to be a physical activity. Just thinking or thoughts would not break this rule. That's the first thing. Then this rule acts, or this rule is related to male and female in two different ways. That's the next point. Then the third point is this should be the physical act of sex. It's not just talking, it's not just thinking. If I specifically define it, it has to involve in the sexual activity of entering a male organ into any of the mouth, anus or vagina of a female. So this is the specific activity. It is not, for example, kissing or touching would not violate this Kamesu Michachara. That's the next point. So when I say the word sex, I am referring to this activity, not anything else. So then the thing is, for monks, this is very strict. We normally teach monks about this entire thing, how it could happen and how it is not happening, because a monk entailing in this sex with a woman or a man or even an animal or even a non-human completely violates his monkhood, and he becomes a parajika person, and he will not be able to be a monk in this life again.
Monk?
Sex. If a monk has sex with male or a female or an animal or anyone, he will not be able to be a monk again in this life. Then now how it is related to a man and how it is related to a woman. For a woman, according to today's context, Kamesu Michachara happens only after she is married. Before the reason the commentary says, these are all what is mentioned in the books. The commentary says, before the marriage, there is no person who is in charge of the woman. So because it was a male dominant society in India, so that is how this Sikkapada has been defined. So before the marriage, woman having sex with anyone does not makes her to commit Kamesu Michachara. There are two exceptional cases. One case is related to a punishment given by a king, which is not valid these days. So normally before the marriage, woman doesn't commit. Then what happens is, for the male, Kamesu Michachara is for having sex with a married woman of another man, or with a lady who is under the guardianship of someone, like under the guardianship of parents, under the guardianship of some person. So a man having sex with a married woman or a woman who is under the guardianship of someone, he commits Kamesu Michachara. So the man being married to someone is not a reason for him to commit Kamesu Michachara. For example, according to this, a married man having sex with someone, a prostitute or someone, is not committing Kamesu Michachara according to this rule. So that's why I said it acts completely too differently to the male and the female. So man commits Kamesu Michachara not because he is married, because he is having a sex with someone who is a married lady who belongs to someone else, or having sex with a girl who is under the guardianship of someone. Right. So this is how the two rules are acting. Now the question someone asked is, if the two partners are not married, so if they have sex, whether they commit the Kamesu Michachara or not? It depends on, because the lady is not married, so they are in a relationship, they are not married, so surely the lady doesn't commit Kamesu Michachara. But whether the male commits or not depends on whether the girl is under the guardianship of someone or not. So then the commentators define what is this guardianship, how do we define it? That's very important. Is it just because the girl is living with the parents, or is it just because the girl is being taken care by the father, if the father is still providing her? No. It is that in those days, in some countries mainly, parents do not want the girl to have sex before the marriage. Especially it is very strictly followed in countries like India even today, in countries like Sri Lanka. I don't know about some Asian countries, they do follow this strictly. So if they are protecting the girl, the daughter, or any of the guardians, maybe a brother is taking care, maybe the grandfather is taking care of the girl. So if they are protecting her not to have sex with someone, that is called guardianship. It's not just providing, it's not just the father is giving money, or it's not that the girl is living with some parents. So if she is guarded by the parents or someone in that level, then having sex with such a girl, the male commits Kamesu Michachara, but not the girl. But if parents are okay, if she is a free girl, if she is given the permission to act as she wants, then both of them doesn't commit Kamesu Michachara.
This can be the excuse for male.
Sorry?
It's okay.
So was I too fast, is it?
No. I mean, it can become excuses for male to commit Kamesu.
Okay.
That's why I said it makes my day.
Yeah, that's why I said you put me into a big trouble now asking this question. Okay. So I think we have to conclude this because there's another Dhamma talk will be held now. So please, this is not to say, this is what I said in what is mentioned in the text, not my own opinion. So don't say Bhante Magga said it's okay for married male to have sex or non-married women to have sex. No, this is not for that purpose. So because you asked the question, I have to say it in Dhamma, and I cannot hide anything. There's no taboo in Dhamma. So I just said what is mentioned there. It's up to you how to behave, right? So don't say that it's not my encouragement or anything. Okay. Okay. Right.
Bhante, if we have done something wrong in the past and present, whether unintentionally or intentionally, through actions of our body, speech, or mind, may we sincerely, humbly, and respectfully ask for Bhante's forgiveness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I will read the Okasama Bhante.
Okay.
Okasa Vandami Bhante.
Sukhi hotu nibbana sapaccho hotu.
Maya Kapang Punyang Samina Anumodita.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami.
Samina Kapang Punyang Maiham Dasa.
Sadhu anumoditabbang.
Sadhu sadhu anumodam. Okasa Waratayena Katang Sabang Acayam
Kamami kamitabbang.
Sadhu okasa kamami bhante.
Sadhu.
Sahabat Dhamma, mari kita limpahkan jasa kebajikan yang telah kita lakukan dengan pelimpahan jasa yang akan dibimbing oleh Bhikku Watagoda Maggavihari. Mari kita semua bersikap anjali. Bhante, we would like Bhante to please guide us for the sharing merits and aspiration recitations.
Okay, with this merit, we will be able to attain the Nibbana and may we share this merit with gods, devas and all the relatives. Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idam me punyang Nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang. Sabbe devanumodantu, sabbe sabutanumodantu, sabbe sattanumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Idang vo nyati nang hotu, sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu, sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu, sukita hontu nyatayo. Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu.